we my name is Michael Ebler, and I'm the chair of the Rehabilitation Council of Texas. This will be our last fiscal year meeting, quarterly meeting of our fiscal year. So I welcome y'all, and we've got some people that are still kind of dropping in the room. So we'll probably give it about another minute and a half, and then we'll just officially start the meeting. So thanks for being here, and we will start very shortly.
Good morning, everybody. This is Gennady. Just checking if you can hear me, if my mic is working.
Absolutely, Gennady. Good morning. And we're live, so we're just kind of waiting for a couple more people to drop in, possibly, and then we'll get started. Okay, that should about do it. Good morning again. Welcome to our last quarterly meeting of our fiscal year. I guess we're August, and I appreciate y'all being here. We've got some. We want to welcome all the members. Good to see y'all, and of course, any commissioners that might come online, and we understand a couple might come in today, and we're going to yield to them and let them have a little, share some information with us or talk just briefly, and we'll let you know when that happens. But and I'll introduce them. So, and then also want to welcome any guests that are online watching this around the state that have joined us on this Zoom. So welcome everybody, and it's going to be a good day. So okay, so here we are. Let's see what next. If you've looked at the agenda, and this goes for members and guests and anybody, you might notice that the agenda was swapped. We've the director of VR, Miss oh, help me out. I forget.
Miss Fuller.
Yes, Miss Fuller. Sorry, Miss Fuller. Anyway, has got some work to do tomorrow, so she's going to present today. Isn't that correct? Yeah. Actually, no, yeah, she's going to present. She's presenting tomorrow, right? Yeah. Ms. Fuller, sorry about that. Yes, so today we will do usually what we do on the second day's business, we'll do today, and then today's business tomorrow. So just FYI, things look a little strange there. That's why. Let's see here. I just wanted to mention later this morning, we're going to hear from Ms. Bowden as she gives a report on an experience she had. She's a member, Amanda Bowden, and she was invited to speak at her local Chamber of Commerce. And I really appreciate her accepting that invitation and speaking at the Chamber. And we're going to hear kind of how her experience went. And I really encourage other members, if you have opportunities, to do things like this. jump on them and do them. It's kind of cool that you know, somebody that we can get out into a group and speak and share the what the VR system in Texas does and how it works and why it's necessary and how it can benefit the state as a whole. And you guys being appointed by the governor are considered to be, you know, pretty well versed on the subject. So if you get invited to speak, please do and help introduce, you know, to some people that have never, you know, don't understand what's going on in VR, that they might be able to learn some valuable stuff there. So thanks, Ms. Bowden, for doing that. And we look forward to hearing your report on that later. So thank you. Okay. So is Commissioner Dimerson in the room by any chance?
Chairman, I'm not in the room, but I'm on the phone. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely. Hello, Commissioner Dimerson. How are you?
Good,
welcome, and glad you're here.
Well, glad to be a part of the meeting this morning. I'm actually driving into the office right now as I speak. And am I on the program right now or 9:25?
Well, we can do 9:25. I'm glad to hear from you now, but we certainly can tap back into you at 9:25. I know that is the time that you said you were gonna be here, but I just thought I'd see if you were here and you're on now.
Okay.
But thanks
Okay,
for
well,
answering. But yeah,
no,
get to the office.
I don't want to interrupt your meeting or anything, but if we're okay, I'll go ahead and make some comments now and then give you guys some time back from that standpoint, whatever your preference.
Whatever works for you, Mr. Commissioner. That's fine.
All right, well, let me go ahead and I'll speak now, and then I'll come back in as well to say hi to the group. But again, Chairman, as always, appreciate everything that you guys are doing day in and day out. I was excited to have a post this week that kind of recognized the three actually. Dalen informed me that there are three, but Disability Chamber of Commerce. And I started out with a did you know type of concept, and kind of a real proud of the fact of what Texas is doing in that space, and also a Texas Deaf Chamber of Commerce as well. And then Texas being the headquarters for the U.S. Disability Chamber of Commerce. And so just kind of steering the conversation up in that regard. And I kind of committed to you guys that on a quarterly basis, we'll try to get out there to spotlight things that are happening in the disability space and recognizing employers that are playing a major role in that space. And so I was excited to do that, getting a lot of positive feedback from that standpoint, so much to the point that I was at a conference, well, dealing with our Texas Association Workforce Board guys in San Antonio. That's where Cheryl is today, as a matter of fact, or yesterday I saw her there. And I mentioned it to them as well. And a lot of the folks did not know, but I was excited at the end that Toyota came up to me, a representative from Toyota that was excited to start doing a few things in that space as well. I think she also has a summer earn and learn intern, and it's amazing how that's going to take place. And I was talking to them about spotlighting again employers and having other employers that are jumping on board. I also had the pleasure of being on a panel with the president of HEV as well, and I was talking about Elizabeth and the work that she's doing in that space. And the president was Craig was very excited to hear those things and said he may reach out to her in that regard as well. And so I continue to enjoy talking about what's happening in that space. I continue to enjoy bringing attention and a spotlight on those efforts. And what I would like to ask you guys as a council, I represent the employers here in the state. And if there's anything that I can do to further promote those efforts so that we can have individuals employed, then I want to do exactly that. We're beginning to travel a little bit more, and I look forward to going out. And if you're in various parts of Texas and you either see me coming out and or if I'm coming out, I'm going to try to make it a point to make sure that our guys, Willette and the team, make sure that I'm scheduling in with you guys or letting you guys know I'm in your neighborhood. If there's anything that I can do or you see where I can play a role on any of your efforts, then consider me part of your team as well as we move forward. But always delighted to talk with this group and continue to appreciate all that you guys are doing And Chairman, I appreciate your leadership in guiding and directing the RCT as well. And so I'll give you some time back, but always never want to miss an opportunity to visit with you guys. And if I have the opportunity when I get into the office, I'll pop back on. That way I can kind of wave and kind of go from there. So I'll give you the time back, Mr. Chairman, but excited. On LinkedIn, I have a post out there highlighting those particular efforts. And again, Dylan kind of alluded that there's also a North Texas disability chamber of commerce that he actually founded, and he brought that to my attention. And I love the fact that we're getting the discussion started, and more folks are kind of popping in. I had some to say they didn't know, and it's exciting to see what we're doing here in Texas, and you guys are making up a big part of all of that. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Commissioner Demerson, thank you so much. And, you know, I apologize for coming in early on your day. You are on the schedule 9:25, and we were just kind of getting through some stuff and thought I would find out if you're here just to introduce you to pre-introduce you, if you will. So
Okay.
thanks for jumping online and speaking. It's always inspirational and positive, and we certainly do appreciate your coming to our meetings, and it kind of gives us some inspiration, helps us understand what you're doing specifically with employers. So as representative employers. So thanks for that. And if you could have the time to just hop on later and say hello, and please do, feel free anytime. And we look forward to seeing you. But if not, you're a busy man. So thanks for being so prepared that you could jump on your drive into work. So thanks for that.
No, Mr. Chairman, and thank you again. I actually, the meeting started at 9, so I wanted to pop in, and I know you were going to be introducing different folks, so I wanted to make sure that I was attuned to that, and I am prepared. It's on my calendar for 9:25, so I'll see you guys at 9:25 as well. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Commissioner. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Great to see you. Okay, one thing that we kind of did on the agenda, this is for members and guests. On the agenda, there is at 9:05 introducing the chair and vice chair nominees. And I wanted to let you know that we will be doing that later in the meeting prior to, let's see, when did we decide to do it, Lisa? I guess prior to the break, right?
That's correct.
Yes. So for nominees, I'd like to give you a 60 seconds or so to have a little introduction of yourself, campaign, if you will, coming up on prior to the election. So I figured it was a better idea to push that to just prior to the election rather than do it now and then, you know. So before we break for the we're going to go actually vote, which, by the way, members, that there's going to be a Survey Monkey, right, Lisa, that you're sending out to vote on for the break. So check your emails for that. Is that right?
That's correct. So right before the break, I will send out an email to the RCT members that will have a link to the Survey Monkey survey, and that's where you will place your vote. So if you'll do that during the break, and then when we're back from the break, Ms. Hodges will announce who the next chair, vice chair will be, who won the elections.
Okay, thank you. So we'll just kind of push that until before the break, and then I'll introduce the nominees. Two very qualified nominees, I might add. Very excited about them. So okay, we are a little bit early. Did anybody? Okay, the liaison reports are in the binder. So if you'd like to follow up, or follow some of the reports in the binder for these coming up, Ms. Stanfield, are you prepared to speak on CAP?
Yes, I am. I just forgot I needed to unmute myself.
No worries, no worries. Welcome. Good to see you.
Well, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. You should see my report is in the binder. Just wanted to highlight some things on it. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before or not, but the CAP staff throughout the state have been meeting with the state office managers, I guess I'm sorry, there's so many different titles. I'm gonna group everybody as a manager to more of a monthly basis. Now we started off, it was almost weekly, and then we backed it off gradually. And some of the more recent topics that we've talked about is we try to give feedback about things that we're seeing in the field. The whole idea is to help the agency and making their changes and try to adapt to the times with COVID and everything, so that services can flow smoothly as they're attempting to do and wanting to do. So we give them feedback on some of that, looking at how their electronic programs are working, giving them feedback about the IPEs being signed and how those systems that they put in place were working. We're still talking with them about provider issues. I know that's a conversation that we're going to be having later today as well. They gave us some update on the Start My VR option, and once they have that going fully operational, we'll probably be adding that to our handouts and stuff to let clients know about that. And we're talking with them about the encryption process to help make sure that all the clients can receive encrypted email from VR staff. And just about our agency in general, we are back open to the public at this time. Our executive director, for those of you who may know her, she's been with the agency for, I guess, almost 35 years, is Mary Faithful, and she has announced her retirement at the end of this year. So our agency is actively looking for a new director. And that is my report. Are there any questions? Anybody has? Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Stanfield. It's always a pleasure to hear your report, and appreciate your giving that. Ms. Hodges, are you available to speak about the CRP?
Yes. Good morning. So we had our fifth quarterly call back in June, and it was well attended. We had over 150 attendees to participate in that call. And we continue to have our quarterly call as well as our regional call as a platform to continue a dialogue amongst the providers throughout the state. So some of the things that the providers have brought up, and some of the biggest concerns would be our services is the cost of services, the service delivery system, the policies and procedures, and an enormous amount of paperwork. So all of these concerns, as well as others, has been shared with the VR team, and they are actively working on addressing these. Some of the things that have already been shared and addressed has been changes with some of the forms. First, the contract modification, a lot of those have been eliminated. That was some of the biggest concerns as well. Mr. Vade will talk about all the updates in the VR projects on tomorrow in more detail. However, there have been some policy changes that went into effect July the 1st, and that was shared through email as well. So with that being said, I think the providers will be happy to know there has been a change with the service, with this fee of services, and as well as some of the policy changes. Right now we are doing SEAL, and we're having some, about to wrap that up across the state, but there are some concerns with the SEAL process and procedures, and we're going to address that with the lesson learned. But one of the biggest things with SEAL, we have a lot of students participating in that particular program, but we don't have the required amount of on-the-job support. So there's an issue with the work experience trainers, as well as some of the processes and the procedures and collaboration throughout some of the regions. So that's a big issue that had come up in the past. So we're working on that as well. And so we hopefully we'll have some resolution by the time the next year will kick off next year. With that being said, Mr. Chairperson, that's all I have. So I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Hodges. Appreciate your report. And if anybody, wants to see this more detailed, that they are in the binder. So please look there for more detailed. If you had a question or just wanted to learn more about the report. Ms. Cowart, are you available to report on the PRN?
Sure, happy to do that. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Move my stuff to the right screen so I can not having to look sideways. Give me 1 second. Just for those that don't know, Partners Resource Network is the nonprofit agency that runs the 4 parent training and information centers that are funded by the Department of Education, Office of Special Education. And our role is to serve parents that have children with disabilities, the professionals and healthcare professionals that support our families that have children with disabilities, and the youth with disabilities themselves. Our role is really to help them understand the rules and laws and regulations surrounding special education services in the public and private school setting, and moving forward into transition age youth as they move into colleges, junior colleges, vocations, things like that. So we work with our VR counselors and everyone to try to get as many wraparound services as we can to help our youth to have the highest quality of independence in life that they can, moving forward into adulthood. And in doing so, we are fully funded by your federal tax dollars. So every service we provide is free to those parents, professionals, and youth. And we do this through, well, pre-COVID, right? We live in 2 worlds, pre-COVID and post-COVID. Pre-COVID, we did most of our things in person, and things being workshops to help people understand those rules, laws, regulations. We do what we call clinics, which help parents and youth prepare for their upcoming IEP meetings. When IEP is an acronym for individual educational placement or plan. I think the official term is plan, but it's called lots of things. And in Texas, we call it an ARD meeting anyway. So, doesn't matter. We do what we call individual information and referral for parents and professionals. We do technical assistance, meeting one-on-one with people. Occasionally, at least once per year in each ESC region in Texas, and there's 20, we do a regional conference to bring in professionals and experts to help parents and professionals understand these rules, laws, and regs. We have tons of things online at our website. Post-COVID, we did everything virtually, and we've been doing virtual things in the past, but not at the 100% rate that we were doing them post-COVID. And prior to these last couple of weeks, I had actually, like Commissioner Dimerson mentioned, I was allowing my staff to go do some in-person things again. But as a management team, we always want to be mindful of the health impacts. All of us are parents of children with disabilities. Some of those are medically fragile, and we want to be good stewards of everyone and make sure everyone stays healthy. So I'm in the process of meeting with the management team, and we may scale back to virtual only. But my report is in the binder. Just a quick snapshot. We really didn't miss a beat. We are still meeting all of our federal guidelines and all of our federal goals that we're funded to do. We're just doing a lot of it virtually. And in this last quarter, between the 4 PTIs in Texas, there's 4 of us now as of October, we had over 168 virtual workshops on any number of topics. And the beauty of being virtual is it doesn't matter if you're sitting in Beaumont and there's a topic out of El Paso that interests you, you can attend that session virtually. We also had 2 conferences in those regions I mentioned. One of those conferences was for Spanish-speaking families in Spanish native language. It wasn't translated through a translator, it was for them, because as you know, translation is difficult sometimes. Some things are lost in translation. And this was truly for our Spanish parents, and it was great. And there's going to be 3 more of those across the state in the coming months. We also did, oh gosh, I was trying to run the numbers real quick. We had about 120 different collaborative activities. So we will work with almost anyone if they are working with our families of children with disabilities. If you want to reach any of us, the best way to figure out who to talk to or just call or email is to go to prntexas.org. You will find tons of free resources under the resources tab. If you want to find out which project or call any project to get help or to collaborate with us, there's information on our website there as well. If anyone has questions, they can type that in the chat box. I'm happy to help, or reach out to me directly. My work cell is 409-239-3197. And if there are no questions, I will yield back to you, sir.
Okay, well, thank you, Ms. Cowart. I appreciate your report and also y'all's ability to really adjust well on the fly with on the COVID adjustments, everything. I'm grateful to hear that you guys are, achieving as well or better results than you working under normal conditions pre-COVID. So thanks for that. It's good to hear that.
Well, Lisa, see this. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you put your work cell in the chat box for us, please?
I sure will.
Thank
And I'll
you.
put my email there as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for that. I'd like to interrupt the reports real quick to see if Commissioner Alvarez was going to step in the room and speak, and I didn't want to go too far past his time being valuable as Commissioner Demerson's is, but I see he's here, so thank you for showing up and in person, and so appreciate you being here. But is Commissioner Alvarez here?
Chairman, let me do this. I'm going to run.
Sure.
When I came in, I saw him, and I know he wants to make remarks, and so I'm going to go remind him that he's up right now to do just that. So give me about 2 minutes. We'll make that happen.
Absolutely. Thanks, Commissioner Demerson. Thank you for that. I guess maybe we can squeeze in.
It looks like he is on now, Michael.
I'm sorry?
Commissioner Alvarez is on now.
He is? Okay, great. There he is. Hello, Commissioner Alvarez. Good morning.
Good morning,
Pleasure
Chairman.
to see you.
Good morning.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Michael Ebler, the chair of the RCT, and this is a continuation of our third quarterly meeting of the calendar year, the final quarterly meeting of our fiscal year. So welcome everyone, and want to welcome all the members, of course, back from yesterday, any guests, and we're lucky to have the Executive Director of the TWBC, Mr. Ed Cerna, with us today. So he'll be speaking shortly. And of course, welcome to any guests around Texas that are on this, watching us broadcast this. So welcome to everybody, and I hope everyone's having a good morning. So I guess just to get started, I'm going to yield the floor to Mr. Cerna, and he likes us to call him Ed. So on the record, I'll do that. And then thank you, Mr. Cerna, or Ed. You yield to you as much time as you want to talk. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. I want to start off by saying I appreciate you always giving me the opportunity to at least visit and say hello. I'm looking forward to a time in the future when some of us can actually be in person and I can actually shake hands, and we can visit that way. But this is just as effective. One of the things that the pandemic taught us is that where we in the past maybe used technology a little bit to get things done, we're now beginning to include it as part of our formal plans for getting things done and for serving our customers. Not exclusively, but as an option. You know, we cover a very vast state, and sometimes it's a bit of a challenge for our counselors in VR or some of our other staff that serve other customers to have to travel in order to provide the services that are necessary, or the other way around, for our customers to have to travel in order to receive the services that they need. So one of the things that came out of the pandemic, that the pandemic taught us, is we can use technology effectively, but not exclusively. And it becomes a more effective tool for us. So you will see us doing that more here at TWC, and very specifically in VR, but it's not an exclusive use of technology to serve our customers. We are still very much about serving our customers the way our customers need to be served, and communicating with them the way that they prefer to be communicated with. So we're going to continue to work on those things. A whole lot has gone on since the last time that we visited. The pandemic started getting better, and then it started getting worse again. And now some say it's worse than it was at the beginning of this year. Hopefully we won't see a repeat of businesses having to close and other adverse effects to our workforce. We are slowly recovering, but we are steadily recovering, both in terms of the number of positions that are open and people that are going back to work, and the number of businesses that are coming to Texas. So we're very pleased about that. Also, one other thing to kind of note is we will be looking at doing things a little differently here at TWC and working with our board partners, specifically as it relates to vocational rehabilitation. Cheryl has done a great job working with the individual boards to raise awareness of our VR program, the existence of our VR program in a particular board area, or the presence of staff in board offices. We're going to continue and to emphasize doing that. I think one of the challenges that our customers face is getting through the bureaucracy of the Workforce Commission to realize that the vocational rehabilitation services that they need are not at a Health and Human Services agency, but at the workforce agency. So at a statewide level, from an agency perspective, but also from a local level, we're going to be expanding our notification mechanisms and help inform our customers of where we're at, so that we can help them get the tools that they need, the help that they need, so that they can go on with their lives and succeed like everybody else in the state succeeds. And then the final thing I want to say is I'm very proud of our staff, the TWC staff. They have adjusted and adapted well to remote work, and it seems like it'd be a no-brainer to, I get to work from home. It actually is harder working from home, because you still have to have the interactions, the personal interactions that you don't easily get when you're in an office. When you're in an office, you just walk down the hall and there's somebody, you see them at the water fountain or the coffee pot or at lunch or something. And when you're working from home, everybody is isolated. It becomes an individual unit. But I think our staff has done an outstanding job at continuing to work on the assignments that they have as teams, and come up with really innovative ways to continue to serve our customers. So I'm very proud of our staff. Like other organizations, we've struggled with turnover, but I don't think it's because of the situation that we're in. I think the turnover is primarily due to now we have so many much more aggressive and higher paying organizations, companies in Austin that we're competing with, and we just at times cannot keep up with some of the pay. But our staff has stayed with us through that, because the mission that they're working on is more important, I believe, than any private sector organization's mission. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to conclude my comments ask if there are any questions that anybody has of me, as usual, and then I'm probably going to have to leave the meeting to be able to make it to my next meeting on time. So,
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Ed. We appreciate your taking time out of your busy day to be here at all, and we really do appreciate that. And does anybody have any questions for Executive Director Cerna before he leaves? One thing I would like to mention is that, in the beginning of your time to or speech, or however you want to call it, you mentioned a blend of tech and in person that kind of probably just about everybody's had to try to, that's got a job and working and has been forced to figure out a good blend of that. And I think if anything good could be coming out of the COVID thing, it taught us that we can move forward over, with the technology-based meetings and world to some degree. I honestly believe that in person it's kind of like, remember when the internet came out, people were saying that brick and mortars were going to go away. It's like, well, they're not going to go away completely. Your stores in the street, and people can walk in and touch the clothes or do whatever, the shopping that they're doing. But same thing with us. We got to have some in person, but I think the technology is advanced where we can be effective electronically. So, and we're doing that as well. And I look forward to kind of, stamping that as the new way we do business in the state of Texas, and to be more efficient. That's really what it's not just to get to work, but actually perhaps even, make it a more efficient system. So anyway, thanks for bringing that up.
yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, we're not only more efficient, but I also believe more employee or family friendly, giving our employees time to not have to spend commuting all the time. And then also maybe even open doors for, quote, Austin employment outside of Austin. One of the things that I want to start doing is hiring individuals into our positions where it's appropriate, where it works, without them having to relocate to Austin, as a requirement. They may want to stay in San Angelo or Tyler or the Valley or El Paso or the Panhandle, but they would still get Austin wages for that Austin job. And hopefully we can recruit people from other parts of the state without them having to come to Austin, especially with the cost of living nowadays here in Austin.
So what I hear you saying is that there may be a large office opening up at the CWC building for leadership.
Yours truly kind of likes coming into the office. I have a 9-year-old, and he and I distract each other. And when I'm at home, I have a tendency to hit the refrigerator more than I need to. So, well,
anyway, thank you so much for your being here. Ed, we appreciate it. It's inspiring to listen to developments going on at CWC, and we certainly do appreciate you and your presence here, as well as, of course, your full team with Ms. Fuller and Adam and them for filling us in with some stats that are quite interesting. So thanks so much for taking time to be here.
Thank you, sir. Thank all of y'all. And I do appreciate the work that you all do in supporting us. The RCT is an invaluable member of Workforce Solutions collectively. What we refer to the entire system, and the system would not be as effective, and in particular VR, without each of y'all volunteering your time, a lot of time and a lot of dedication. So I appreciate that very much. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank all of y'all.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Okay. And feel free to, duck out whenever you need to. It's we certainly understand. So thank you. Okay, I guess we're going to be looking for RCT committee reports. Ms. Cowart, are you available?
Yes, I am, but let me make sure that my people that would be giving those reports are available. I see that Gary is here. Let me look for Chris.
I'm
Yeah,
here.
Chris is here as well. Chris, do you want to go ahead and go first?
Sure. Let me go first. I don't have a long report. Good morning, Mr. Chair and Madam Vice Chair. Just a quick update on the CSNA. The document has been completed. We provided the executive summary at the last meeting, which basically outlined some of the major conclusions of the document. And the rest of the document goes into more detail with graphs and charts and those sort of things. So that is I think going through all the relevant stakeholders in the agency, and we'll look forward to DOI participating in strategy meetings as we look forward to strategies for the combined state plan. I think that's all I have this morning. Are there any questions?
Yeah, this is Karen. Is this report going to be shared with the council?
Yes. That it's my understanding that it will be. And I believe it just, once it goes through all the stakeholders and within the agency, then we can share it outside the agency.
If I may chime in quickly, I think we can get that report to you now. We can certainly do that. I have a little bit more of an update on our review of it when my time comes, but Lisa, we can get that report to you, and I think it's certainly good to go to share with the members.
Thank you. I know I asked about that yesterday.
Yes.
Gary, are you
Okay,
ready?
thanks.
Yes, ma'am. Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman, council members, and guests. I'm Gary Benner, and I'll be giving an update on the fiscal year 2021 Q3 VR customer satisfaction survey results. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Give me 1 second. Hopefully that's the screen I want. And all right, so is everyone able to see that?
I can see it.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, all right, as I said, we'll just go have an overview of the satisfaction results for the third quarter. And if I can, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm sorry here. Need to get some cooperation here from my mouse. Okay, so for Q3, overall, we had 3816 customers that were surveyed by our contractor Westat. And that was 25.9% of the target for Q3. We had a response rate there of 25.6%. And then we have the cumulative numbers there for the fiscal year so far. We've surveyed 11,766 customers, which was 80% of the target, and that's with a overall 26.8% response rate. For customers with disabilities other than blindness and visual impairments, there were 2896 surveys during the quarter, and that was 22.2% of our quarterly target. The Q3 response rate was 23.4%. And cumulative through the end of Q3, 9,459 surveys were completed, for 72.6% of the overall target and right around a 25% response rate. And then for our blind or visually impaired customers, 920 surveys in Q3 for a 54.8% of the overall target. And Q3 response rate was 36.5. Year to date, 2307 customers surveyed with a 137.3% of target and a 26.2 response rate. So here we are looking down a little deeper. This is for open case customers. Those were customers that are actively being served when they were selected for a survey. We had 2329 customers and surveyed in Q3 with that being 31.4% of the target and overall 29.4% response rate. Cumulatively for the year, 87 customers surveyed, that being 106.5% of the open case target. And then that's 29.6% response rate. For customers with disabilities other than blindness and visual impairments, we had 1,760 surveys, right at 24.4% of the yearly target, 26.7% response rate. And then for the year, 6,607 customers were surveyed, and that's 91.5% of the active case target for a 27.8% response rate for those customers. And then finally, the blind visually impaired customers, you see 779 surveyed at a 92.7% of the target, 38.3% response rate. And for the year, 1,980 were surveyed and a whopping 235.7% of the active case the target for the year. And the response rate there was 37.7, rather high. The closed case customers, you'll notice here that response rates are lower and percents of targets are lower just overall. So 1277 customers surveyed overall. See a response rate around 19% of target, 20.4% response rate. And then we had for the fiscal year to date, 6651 surveyed for that being not even 50% of the target of closed case customers and a 21.3% response rate. And customers with disabilities other than blindness and visual impairments, 1,136 surveyed, a 19.6% of the target and 19.6% response rate. And the cumulative numbers, 2852 so far. Again, still under 50%, 49.1% and a 20.7% response rate for those customers. Finally, the blind and visually impaired customers, 141 were surveyed during the quarter, and that's only 16.8% of the overall target. And we had a 29% response rate there. So higher response rate, which is typical. We usually see higher response rates with the blind and visually impaired customers. To date, through the fiscal year, 327 surveyed with closed case customers, 38.9% response rate and, 38.9% of the target and a 29% response rate, so. And here's some select responses or favorable, basically these are favorable responses that were on the higher end. And typically the one we see at the top usually is where you treat it in a caring and friendly and respectful manner. And so for, this is open overall, was 95% And then the overall close, 94.7% agreed that they were treated in a caring, friendly, and respectful manner. And then for the blind, visually impaired customers, which basically is a subset of that overall population there, 93.7% and 93.5% for the closed case customers. In agreement with the employment goals chosen, those 93.5% open. That question is not posed to customers that have closed cases. And for the blind, visually impaired population, that was 92.4%. Were you seen within 15 minutes of your scheduled appointment time? Overall, 91.6% said yes, they were, or they'd agreed with that. And for the blind, visually impaired, 90.7% agreed with that. Did you have input in setting your employment goals? Now this one is asked across, it's similar to the one that we saw a little earlier. 90% overall said yes, they did have input. And basically the same for closed case customers, 89.7%. And then for BVI customers, you can see it was similar, just a little lower at 88.5% and 89.1% for the closed case customers. Satisfaction with their job overall, 91.4% of customers surveyed said that they were satisfied with their job, and 89.5% of the blind, visually impaired closed case customers. And satisfaction with your employee benefits for those who had them. Overall, 92.4% responded they were satisfied with their benefits. But you'll see here with the blind, visually impaired customers, it was a significant difference with only 85.8% there saying that they were satisfied with their employee benefits. And here's some of the survey responses that